Hello, GH fans, grab your snacks, silence your phones, and maybe send a quick pray for Port Charles text to your group chat, because this storyline web is getting wild. We've got a pregnant Portia clutching her stomach in terror, Curtis sitting in a jail cell wondering if he just sacrificed himself for nothing, Anna literally trapped in some creepy Spoon Island dungeon with macaroons as her consolation prize, and Willow standing on the edge of a courtroom cliff, with a missing memory in Drew's brain that could blow up everything. Over on Spoon Island, there's a very unsettling mash-up of romance and horror going on. Jenz Sidwell is offering deception a too-good-to-be-true business deal upstairs, while downstairs his henchman Pascal might be serving French pastries to the woman he's allegedly holding hostage. Anna's locked away, writing down clues, connecting Caesar phase dots, and trying not to lose her mind, all while Windermere once again proves it's the unofficial headquarters of Port Charles' worst decisions. Back in town, Curtis is facing charges for obstruction and lying to the cops, and the timing is brutal. The Savoy footage drops, his secret meeting with Selena Wu comes to light, and suddenly the man who tried to undo his own mistake might be the one wearing the crime around his neck. Meanwhile, his pregnant wife Portia is doubled over in pain at GH, and of course, the person who steps in to help is Britt. Yes, the same Britt who's up to her eyeliner in Sidwell, Secrets, and a complicated almost romance with Jason. And then there's the Willow arc, which is becoming a full-blown psychological thriller. She's rehearsing her testimony with Alexis, Suzanne is reading her like a jury focus group, and her love for her kids is being painted as both her greatest strength and her biggest liability. Drew is seething, sure it's Michael's fault. Michael sneaking around with Jacinda. Nina thinks Curtis' arrest changes everything. And somewhere in Drew's head, a buried memory might hold the answer to who actually pulled that trigger. On top of it all, we've got Charlotte Cassadine, the kid who never met a boundary she didn't test, putting clues together about her fugitive father. Carly's attic may be the worst-kept secret in town, and it's only a matter of time before Charlotte sneaks her way into a discovery that could blow Valentin's hideout wide open. So, GH fans, tonight we're breaking down the arrests, the kidnappings, the blackmail, the baby scares, the hypnosis hints, and the sneaky Cassadine kid who might accidentally save the day. Let's dive into the madness. Let's start with Curtis, because the man is taking hits from every direction right now. At the PCPD, the security footage from the Savoy exposes that little lie he told about being alone the night of the shooting. The tape clearly shows him with Selena Wu, and once that hits Dante, Nathan, and ADA Justine Turner's radar, the narrative shifts fast. Suddenly, Curtis isn't just a grieving guy trying to protect his wife, he's a man who could have hired a mob boss to handle Drew. Add in the fact that Curtis did flirt with the idea of having Drew wiped off the map but then backed out without paying Selena, and you've got the perfect storm. He has motive, he has a secret meeting, and he has a history of making desperate choices. Justine can't move forward with Willow's trial cleanly while this doubt is hanging over them, so she slaps Curtis with obstruction of justice and making a false statement. Not attempted murder, not yet, but in Port Charles, not yet is usually doing a lot of heavy lifting. Meanwhile at Aurora, Nina walks in thinking she's just coming to push Curtis to help Willow's defense, and instead she gets front row seats to his downfall. Curtis learns from her that Portia's pregnancy got dragged into this mess because Nina weaponized that information during their earlier confrontation. He snaps, as he should, because now his wife is a target, his freedom is gone, and his guilt is eating him alive. Before they can finish the fight, Nathan arrives, reads him his rights, and hauls him out of his own office. Portia's day isn't any better. At GH, she tells Isaiah the truth, they were together the night of the shooting, and that alibi could destroy his career. She knows her motive leaked, she knows Curtis has already stuck his neck out to protect her, and she's torn between saving herself, saving him, and not destroying Isaiah's future in the process. Isaiah, bless him, tells her to do what she needs to do, he'll handle the fallout. But before she can even decide, the stress and guilt catch up to her. She doubles over in pain, clutching her stomach, terrified for the baby. Enter Britt. Even without a valid medical license, she's still the brilliant OB-GYN under it all. Portia doesn't care about paperwork in that moment, she cares about the life inside her. Britt steps up, calm, steady, reassuring, reminding her she's there and she's not going anywhere. It's a powerful contrast. Portia's whole world is chaos, but her baby's best chance is in the hands of a woman who's juggling Sidwell, FanZone's legacy, and a complicated almost relationship with Jason Morgan. Now shift over to Alexis' place, where Willow is basically rehearsing for her own survival. She runs through her testimony in front of Alexis and Suzanne, painting herself as the woman who fainted hearing about Drew's injuries, the woman who loved him, the mother who'd never harm her children's father. Drew thinks she's perfect, the jury will eat it up. Suzanne? Not so much. She calls Willow out for being too defensive, too polished, and points out the uncomfortable truth: Willow's love for her kids is exactly what makes her look capable of doing anything, even something drastic, to protect them. Alexis is wary. She doesn't like the idea of Willow testifying at all, but she knows she can't stop her. This is Willow's call. Then Nina barges in like a legal grenade, fresh from Curtis' arrest, insisting nobody may have to testify after all if Curtis becomes the shiny new suspect. Later, Nina will tell Willow that Curtis being charged changes everything, and Willow, exhausted, desperate, and on edge, lets herself feel something she hasn't allowed in a while: hope. Meanwhile, Michael is trying to be a decent dad while living in a house full of secrets. In the Quartermain kitchen, he brings in Christina to help break the news to Wiley about Willow marrying Drew. Wiley's confused. Why wasn't he invited? Why can't he see his mom? Why is everything around him changing while no one explains anything? Michael reassures him that the mansion is his home and he's not going anywhere. And then, in another corner of his life, Michael heats things up with Jacinda, insisting that being with her isn't just about having an alibi. Sure, buddy. Because nothing says clean conscience like a romance born under a cloud of suspicion. Now let's sail over to Spoon Island, where things are straight out of a gothic soap noir. Upstairs at Windermere, Sidwell is selling deception on a miracle concession, minerals at cost, exclusive control over all imported materials, and shipments arranged through the very same piers Sonny agreed to give him access to. Brooklyn's instincts scream absolutely not, but Lucy, ever the dreamer and opportunist, talks her down and nudges her into agreement. Felicia watches the whole thing like the seasoned vet she is, clocking every manipulative smile. In private, Sidwell lays it on thick with Lucy. She's vital to the company, vital to him, yada yada, and they kiss. Romantic? Maybe. Convenient for a man who wants leverage into a legacy cosmetics brand? Definitely. And then there's Pascal, floating around Windermere like a ghostly French waiter, offering macaroons to guests upstairs while Anna, downstairs, starts connecting the dots. She's thinking of Caesar FanZone, of that final project, of transportation by water. She scratches notes in her pad, clinging to the details, and then Pascal walks in, speaks French, offers those same macaroons, and makes it painfully clear she's not just lost, she's being managed. Lastly, we've got Charlotte and Carly in what might be the accidental savior storyline. Valentin is hiding out in Carly's attic, having upgraded from the shed like it's a fugitive hotel room. Carly is not thrilled, but she agreed to it, and now she has to live with the constant fear of discovery. Out in town, Charlotte has already put together that the key with the blue ribbon means her father is safe and told her to stay put. But since when has Charlotte ever taken that kind of advice? With Lulu's place crawling with law enforcement and Carly as the only non-cop visitor, it's only a matter of time before Charlotte follows her instincts straight to Carly's front door, and maybe right up into that attic. Let's talk about Curtis first, because his mind right now is a mess of guilt, fear, and stubborn pride. On paper, he looks shady: secret meeting with Selena, prior consideration of a hit on Drew, and lies to the cops. But emotionally? He's a man who made one terrible choice, tried to undo it, and now feels like fate is punishing him anyway. Curtis' real motive has never been about greed, it's about control. He wants to control the chaos around Portia, Trina, and this unborn baby. So when he lies, it's not to be a villain. It's to keep his family from shattering. Unfortunately for him, the system doesn't care about his intentions, only his actions. Portia, on the other hand, is living in the fallout zone of every decision she's ever made. She's hiding a massive paternity secret, she's tried to micromanage Trina's life, and now she's scared that everything about Drew's shooting is circling back to her. Her instinct is always to protect her reputation, her career, her daughter, her unborn child. But that instinct has led her to half-truths and lies that are closing in. Her body literally rebels with pain when the pressure reaches its peak. Is it just stress? Is it something more dangerous for the baby? Either way, Portia is learning the hard way that secrets don't stay buried, they turn into fault lines. Nina is, once again, the emotional hurricane whose intentions and impact never quite line up. She didn't mean to drag Portia's pregnancy into the legal mess this way, she just wanted to protect Willow, to feel useful, to be on the right side of something for once. But this is Nina. Every time she decides to charge in and fix something, someone else pays the price. She tells Curtis about Portia's spill and then watches as he's arrested. Then she runs to Alexis' place convinced that Curtis' charges are some kind of miracle solve for Willow's trial. She's always chasing redemption, always reaching for the family she lost, and in the process, she keeps lighting new matches in rooms that are already full of gas. Willow is one of the most complicated pieces on this board. To the outside world, and to a jury, she's the classic devoted mother under pressure. But under the surface, she's someone who's been pushed too far, too many times. She has a trauma history, a martyr streak, and a fierce I'll-handle-it-myself attitude. She insists on testifying, even when Alexis warns her against it, because she's tired of being powerless. Suzanne's read on her is brutal but accurate. Willow's love for her kids doesn't just make her sympathetic, it makes her look like someone who could cross a line if she truly believed it was the only way to protect them. That's devastating psychology for a character who might actually be innocent or might not be. Then there's Drew. On the surface, he's the man looking for justice, obsessed with dragging Michael's name through the mud and blaming Curtis for everything that's gone wrong. But deeper down? Drew is terrified. Not just of what happened that night, but of what he might have seen. When Alexis pushes him to walk through the shooting step by step, he hits that wall, yes. Wait, no, there is something else. That flicker of almost memory feels like his subconscious trying to break through, and then shutting down again. Why? Fans have to at least consider the possibility that his brain is protecting him from a truth he doesn't want to face. If the person he glimpsed was Willow, the woman he's built this late in life fantasy with, that's the kind of truth that could shatter him. So instead, his anger goes outward, at Michael, at Curtis, at anyone but the one person he can't bear to question. Britt's psychology is pure chaos wrapped in a lab coat. On one side, she's a brilliant doctor still stepping up to help Portia, proving again that medicine is in her bones even if the state of New York says otherwise. On the other, she's tangled up in blackmail tied to Sidwell, FanZone's nightmare legacy, and secrets from that Five Poppies resort. She's drawn to Jason because he's solid, loyal, and dangerous in all the ways she understands. Her heart's opening up, even as her brain screams that letting him all the way in could get them both killed, or worse, force her to expose what she's hiding. And now Molly may have seen her kissing Cody, yet another complication that could blow up both her professional integrity and her personal life. Sidwell himself is straight out of the charming villain playbook. With deception, he plays the savior, minerals at cost, new direction, big promises. With Lucy, he plays the romantic, you're vital to this, you're vital to me. With his shipments going through Sonny's peers and Pascal lurking in the background, it's pretty clear he's not just a businessman. He's moving something, maybe FanZone's final project, maybe something worse, and using cosmetics as the perfect respectable cover. Charlotte's headspace is classic Cassadine light. She's been taught to read clues, decode symbols, and trust her own instincts over authority. Valentin tries to protect her by telling her to stay put, but he basically hands her a mystery instead. The key with the blue ribbon, Carly's suspicious visit, the sudden lack of access to her father, all of that feeds right into her curious, stubborn nature. If Charlotte sneaks into Carly's house and finds her father in that attic, it won't be out of malice, it'll be out of loyalty. But her loyalty plus Valentin's secrets plus Carly's risk tolerance? That combo could explode fast. Carly is playing a game she hates but can't walk away from. She doesn't want a fugitive in her attic. She doesn't want to be tied to WSB drama, Sidwell drama, or Anna's mysterious disappearance. But she made a choice. She agreed to protect Valentin for Anna's sake. Now she's stuck constantly calculating whether she's doing the right thing or just setting herself up to lose everything. If Charlotte appears at her door, Carly's instincts will kick in, but this time, there may be no right move. And floating above all of this are Dante and Nathan, the closest thing to moral anchors we have in this mess. They're doing the job, following the evidence, reacting to shockers as they fall in. But they're also human, with ties to Sonny, to Maxie, to their own past mistakes. When they make this upcoming discovery, it's going to slam right into their personal loyalties and force them to decide what kind of cops they really are. So where could this all go next, GH fans? Let's start with the biggest ticking time bomb, Drew's missing memory. There's a very real chance Drew could agree to hypnosis, especially if someone like Kevin Collins steps in and calmly explains that this could be the key to clearing Willow. If that stunning offer Drew gets on December 11th is a chance to finally unlock that last piece of the night, hypnosis is the perfect soap-friendly way to do it. Under Kevin's guidance, Drew might relive flashes of what actually happened, footsteps, a voice, a gunshot, maybe even a glimpse of the shooter. Willow holding the gun, terrified and desperate, confirming everyone's worst fears. Someone totally unexpected, Portia, Isaiah, or another third party, stepping into frame, proving that all this focus on Curtis and Willow was a red herring. Or a twist where Drew himself did something he blocked out, not necessarily pulling the trigger, but provoking or escalating something in a way that's haunting him more than he realizes. Whatever the truth is, hypnosis could be the moment where everything changes, and GH will likely keep us in suspense with partial reveals, flashes, maybe even a cliffhanger mid-session where Drew gasps, "Oh my God," and we cut to black. On the Curtis side, his SOS from lockup to Jordan is another powder keg. He might hint that he ordered the hit, didn't pay for it, and now he's being used as the fall guy while someone else took advantage of the chaos. Jordan's still tied to him emotionally, whether she admits it or not. She could either help him by quietly chasing down leads on Selena and whoever actually pulled the trigger, or she could be forced to choose between her badge and the man she once loved. Fans can absolutely imagine Jordan quietly working angles off the record, trying to mitigate charges, or even finding evidence that points toward another suspect right as Willow's trial is about to start. Portia's baby scare has two likely paths. 1. It's a serious medical crisis, forcing her to be honest about everything because she can't risk added stress or secrecy anymore. 2. It's a scare that turns out to be non-fatal but becomes a massive wake-up call. Either way, Britt being the doctor at her side is significant. This might be the beginning of a fragile alliance between two women who are both carrying secrets tied to Sidwell and Drew's shooting. If Portia later learns Britt is connected to Sidwell and FanZone's final project, that's going to hit differently after Britt helped her through one of the scariest moments of her life. On the Spoon Island front, we could see Anna slowly piecing together her own escape plan. She's writing things down, noting the water route, clocking Pascal's patterns. Fans might see her stash clues, a note, a mark on the wall, something that could later be found by someone searching Windermere. Meanwhile, upstairs, Sidwell continues tightening his grip on deception, and Jason quietly works behind the scenes with Sonny to undercut him. Jason's breakthrough with Britt may come when she finally lets slip how deeply connected Sidwell is to FanZone's legacy and the Five Poppies. He'll realize Anna's kidnapping isn't random, it's strategic. Charlotte's sneaky streak is almost guaranteed to pay off. She could follow Carly from Lulu's place or simply show up under the guise of wanting to talk. Maybe Carly leaves a subtle clue around the house, an extra coffee mug, an odd noise from above, that makes Charlotte suspicious. If Charlotte sneaks into the attic and finds Valentin, fans might get a tearful reunion that turns into a massive problem. Does Carly walk in and find them together? Does someone else spot Charlotte entering the house and start asking questions? This entire thread could be the accidental trigger that finally exposes Valentin's hideout, and in turn, forces the search for Anna to take a new direction once he starts talking. Nina's future missteps are almost a given. If she catches Michael and Jacinda in a sizzling moment, she could weaponize that information at the worst possible time, maybe dropping it in front of Willow, or even under oath if she ends up pulled into testimony. Fans can easily imagine Nina trying to help by revealing that Michael's been lying again, only to blow up his credibility as a witness and muddy the waters for Willow's defense. Nina's pattern is clear: she acts from emotion, not strategy, and the fallout tends to land on the people she loves most. Britt's path with Jason might move fast. With danger rising, secrets tightening, and emotions high, they could share a deeper moment, maybe a confession, a kiss, maybe more, right around the time Jason finally gets his hands on some hard intel about Sidwell. This could force Britt to pick a side, stay loyal to Sidwell's deal and the shadowy forces behind it, or stand firmly with Jason and Sunny and risk her own safety. Fans suspect this is heading toward a Britt and Jason versus the world dynamic, if she's brave enough to fully step into it. Meanwhile, Dante and Nathan's shocker discovery could tie all these threads together. They might find a piece of evidence that contradicts the official theory of the shooting, something that connects Selena's operation to Sidwell's shipments, or even a clue linking Spoon Island activity to the night Drew was gunned down. Whatever they uncover, it'll likely force them to choose which case gets priority: the search for Valentin and Anna, or the effort to finally nail down Drew's shooter and either clear or condemn Willow. And then there's Willow's fate. Her trial could move forward with Curtis still in the mix as a suspect, Drew potentially remembering something under hypnosis, and Nina trying to manipulate the board from the sidelines. Fans can imagine multiple endings: Willow exonerated by a last-minute witness, a hung jury that drags the story out, or even a guilty verdict that sets up a long-term wrongfully convicted arc, especially if the real shooter remains hidden for a while longer. So, GH fans, here we are: Curtis in a cell, Portia clutching her baby and her secrets, Britt torn between saving lives and saving herself, Nina pushing buttons she can't press, Drew hovering on the edge of a truth he may not want, and Willow standing in the crosshairs of public judgment, while somewhere beneath Spoon Island, Anna is scribbling clues and quietly planning her comeback. Add in Charlotte potentially sneaking into Carly's house and stumbling onto Valentin in that attic, Sidwell using cosmetics shipments as the perfect cover for something darker, and Dante and Nathan closing in on a game-changing discovery, and you've got the kind of multi-layered, slow-burn chaos that keeps Port Charles spinning. Did Drew really see something that night, something his brain has buried because it's too devastating to face? Could hypnosis unlock a shocking image of Willow with a gun, or reveal a completely different shooter hiding in plain sight? Will Curtis go down as the fall guy for a hit he never actually paid for, or will Jordan pull off a quiet miracle behind the scenes and drag the truth into the light before Willow ever sets foot on the stand? Is Portia's baby scare just a warning shot from her own body, or the start of a heartbreaking medical crisis that forces every secret out into the open? Will Charlotte's instincts make her the unlikely hero who exposes Valentin's location and sets off the chain reaction that leads to Anna's rescue, or will her sneaking around just give the authorities one more reason to suspect the Cassadines of something worse? And what about Britt and Jason? Are we looking at a ride-or-die pairing stepping into a mob war with Sidwell and the ghost of FanZone's final project, or is Britt going to pull back, protecting her own skin and leaving Jason in the dark just when he needs her the most? Drop your theories in the comments, GH fans. Who do you think really shot Drew? Is Willow a tragic target or a secret trigger puller? Will Curtis walk free, or are we heading toward a full-blown Ashford versus the system arc? And who's going to crack first, Nina, Portia, Britt, or Drew's fragile memory? Stay tuned, because if this is where we are now, you know the next wave of episodes is going to hit even harder. And when the truth finally explodes in Port Charles, it's not just one life or one case on the line, it's every secret that's been carefully stacked on top of another, waiting for that one final push.